Welcome back everyone to more X4 Foundations. And in today's video we're going to start out with a recap of what has happened since our last video. We'll talk about where things are, and then we'll take a look at where we want to go in the immediate future over the next few hours of game time. Of course, we know ultimately where we want to be by about 24 hours of gameplay, and that is we better be ready for an invasion, because my understanding is it's going to be a huge invasion that is probably going to wipe us off the map. And I can't wait to get to that point. But we've got several more steps that we need to really take care of before we can even think about being ready for that particular event whenever the Raider invasion does come. So let's go ahead and back out a little bit. We're going to go under Property Owned. And of course you see our Wharf HQ, which is where we are currently located. We're actually sitting here inside the wharf itself. And then we've got our fleets. Now this is something that has changed very much for the better since we were last together. We're now roughly 12.5 hours into the game. And the biggest event that has happened between our last video and this one is that I was able to earn enough money to go and purchase the blueprint for the medium-sized Cerberus vehicle. The Cerberus is medium size, and what I've done is here you can see all of our different wings that we have set up. Each medium-sized ship, which is the Cerberus, has two wings or two fleets of 4 smaller vehicles. So that's the way I decided to do it, just to get things started. My plan ultimately is to come back, and as we get closer and closer to that 24-hour mark, I'm going to start putting more and more of a fleet together. But for right now, I wanted a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 of the smaller wings for 1 of the medium-sized wing. Now, one thing you notice that is missing right now is we don't have any large ships. And that's because we got a little bit of work to do before we can even think about doing some large ships. And we'll talk about those here in just a moment. But each of our wings looks exactly like this for the most part until we get down to the very bottom. And that's because I'm waiting for this last wing to be completed. As we come in here, you can see we have 1 wing of 4 small ships, the Eclipse Vanguards. And we need a second one there. Well, we've got 2 ships that are actually sitting next to us here in the wharf. So they're ready to go. Now I'm waiting for, if you look at the bottom left of the screen, the last 2 ships that are ready for construction in our queue are 2 more Eclipse Vanguard, which will finish up that final wing for this particular Cerberus vessel. So we are in great shape. Our fleet is, our fighting fleet is growing quite rapidly, and it is something that has been quite honestly a lot of fun to deal with over the last several hours of gameplay. Because if we take a look at the subordinates that we have, these guys have been doing really good work to the point where I haven't had to spend tons of time micromanaging them to make sure we get what we need. A little bit here and there to make sure we can get enough hull parts in particular. But other than that, things have really been going very smoothly. I actually tried out a large trader. We actually had this, if you noticed, as we were scrolling through in the last video, you might have noticed this large trader. I decided to purchase it and give it a chance. I usually don't use the larger trading vessels simply because they take so much time. They don't use the highway system. They're generally much slower, that kind of thing. So even though they have a huge carrying capacity, for me, it just makes me feel better to see ships moving along at speeds like this, as we have another station trader that's coming in, as opposed to what you see our large trader running at. So it just makes me feel better. It makes me feel like the universe is more alive to use the medium-sized ship. So, but I did want to try 1 large ship, and it has not gone terribly well. In fact, there have been multiple occasions where I thought about just going ahead and selling that ship off to the local shipyard just to get the money and let's just move on. But I decided to just assign it ultimately to the wharf and let it do its thing. Because again, it can be very useful as long as you don't need it to travel long distances. I mean, if for example, if you needed it to come over here and deal with Talati on something, it would take absolutely forever to do. The medium-sized ships would absolutely crush it in efficiency. However, if, as what I was doing when I was manually setting up its orders, it was trading with places like the Hull Part Factory, which was very nearby, and that's an opportunity for it to really take care and take advantage of its huge capacity, as opposed to its slow speeds being so much of a detriment. So everything is looking really good. I really enjoy seeing all of our fleet starting to assemble outside of the HQ. But as I said, things have been going really well. We've had materials flowing in quite rapidly. In fact, I've been keeping this queue pretty much full with at least 7 or 8 ships the entire time. I've let it come down a little bit because we're going to need to go a little bit different direction, I think, going forward. And the reason for that is, if we're going to continue to add, for instance, large ships in here and then assign the medium ships to the large ships and build our fleet that way, then I'm going to have to do some work to help out the shipyard. And again, we're using the Argonne shipyard simply because it's very close and we have a great relationship with them. But if I come in under buy ships, you notice they are in a lot of trouble as far as materials go. So if we're going to attempt to get any large vessels from here, I'm probably going to have to build some traders on my own. Because again, all of the wharfs in the game other than ours are so backed up and so behind on materials that in all likelihood we're never going to get our ships, at least not before the 24-hour mark when we would need them. So we're going to have to get some traders out and try as best I can to babysit the shipyard so we can get what we need. So assuming we can get that done in the near future, and we'll look at how we're going to take care of that very shortly. But let's take a look at some of the vessels we might be interested in. Now, if we look at large, the one we're really interested in is the Destroyer. We want the Behemoth Destroyer, and this thing is pretty nice. Again, we're not talking about how this relates to the large ships from the other factions, but this could be pretty nice for us. However, you notice that it's in red. We're not quite where we need to be reputation-wise with Argonne in order to make this happen. We need to be at a 20. And but before we actually come back out, we're at an 18 right now. It seems like we've been at an 18 forever. But we're going to try to push through, get to that 20 mark so that we can be upgraded with the faction and then have access to the large ship. But the really interesting thing is, if we want to go extra large, this is where the mod is going to come into play that we're using for the invasion. So if we go into under XL, you'll notice that there are some ships available for us right now. And these ships, I know at least a couple of them. The first one and then the Terranus, I know, are from previous X games. And I'm not sure actually about this one. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it may very well be the same situation. So if we click on one of these, you can see the hull huge on these, the price huge on these. So this would be something we would probably get into at the very, very end, right before that 24-hour mark, if we're able to make it that far. Like I said, we got several steps to go before we get there, but this is a carrier. You can see we've got a total of 16 docks plus a huge carrying capacity. I mean, this thing can carry 10 medium-sized ships and 40 small ships. That is absolutely huge compared to anything that I'm used to dealing with. If we come down here and look at the Terranus, then you can see not quite on the same scale. It can carry only the smaller ships, and it's got a couple of docks and a maximum of 40 capacity. So it gives you some idea as to what our ultimate goal will be. I just don't know that we're going to have enough time to get there. These are the vessels that I fully expect to be attacking us when the time comes. So it would be great if we could at least get one or two of these all set, and I think that would really help us out and give us at least a fighting chance once the time arrives. But again, you can see even the Tyrannus is 19.5 million credits, and that's before we add any of, you know, the engine, the thrusters, and so on, which is, of course, going to add to the cost even more. So this is our end game right here, and hoping to get to it before the 24 hours are up. Let's actually come in under player information, and let's talk about our faction relations. Everything is going really well. You can see plus 15 here with Antigone, 18 with Argon, only plus 2 with the Paranid, plus 7 with the HOP, 16 for Hatikva's Free League, and then Talati is at plus 13. Now the Terran Trading Corp is again part of the Invasion mod. They actually can build ships for you. We're at a plus 10 with them right now, but I actually haven't even searched them out to see where they're located on the map. I'm sticking simply with Argon for all of our building needs, just to make things simple on this first playthrough attempt at using this mod. All right, so let's see how things go. Okay, we're still backed up a little bit here on the queue, waiting for some more. Let's see, we're waiting for more materials. Let's see what we might be looking for. Turret components, we look good. Smart chips, yeah, we're fine there. All of these, field coils, advanced electronics, all this looks good. Looks like weapons components. Yeah, that's what we're waiting on. So we're down to 20 there, so that's why we're backed up in our queue. Looks like we've got one trader that's bringing 260 in. I don't think that's actually going to be enough to get both of these smaller ships built. It might be, but just in case, let's look. And it looks like we've got a trader here that is not currently doing anything. So let's see if we can get there before he queues up another trade. Let's look for weapons components. I found some of these in a couple of different spots. Let's see where we might be able to find some now. Okay, yes, we're going back over to the Void, it looks like, which is perfectly fine with me. Yeah, there we go. We got 740 of those available. I don't even care about the price. That doesn't matter to me one bit. We got plenty of money. What we need are ships. So we're going to get 395 of those. We'll queue that order up, come back over to our HQ, transfer wares. No need to transfer money since we own both the ship and the station. All right, so that'll get us 675. And I tell you what, while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and queue up another trade and go ahead and take all of the weapons components that they have available, because naturally we're going to need these going forward. So let's just go ahead and take care of this. This is one of those things that the AI manager for the station just really can't do. All right, excellent. So that'll take care of getting some of that done. Again, we've already got one ship that is coming in. In fact, is it this guy? Let's see what he's up to. He's executing a trade. No, he's bringing hull parts. Okay, that's awesome. Okay, you can see I've got a couple of traders here that are, this is using the random mods. And I've got them bringing either hull parts or engine parts, and that's why I've got them named that way. I assigned them to the station just to sort of get them out of the normal list where we've got all of our miners. So just to put them in this area and get them out of the main list is really the only reason I did that. It doesn't affect how they trade, but they're only trading in those two particular materials, and then the rest of these guys take care of the rest. You can also see our large trader, he's doing nothing right now. And again, I'm fighting back the urge to just go ahead and sell that one off and take the money. All right, so there's another step we need to do. If we're going to try to babysit the shipyard, then one of the things we need to do is we actually need to scroll back out. Let's get rid of some of these overlays right quick. And you notice that I've got a ship docked over here. I made just a basic scout vessel, the Discoverer Vanguard, and then I parked it over here at the shipyard, simply because the shipyard, as you notice the little crown icon here, that is where the faction representative is located, and I can teleport right over to this particular ship, and this gives me an easy way to move back and forth between the shipyard And let's see. How do we get out of this thing? Good gracious alive. There we go. All right, we'll hop out. And so that ship, this is really its only purpose. Now, I did outfit it with weapons so that when the time comes, it can at least try to be helpful in the fight. But for the most part, it is here just for that one purpose for me. All right, let's hop into the representative's office. And before we talk to him, let's actually back up a second. And let's look at the wharf and take a look. If we wanted to buy, and again, we're going to ignore the fact that they're missing a bunch of resources because we're not actually going to order anything. So what could we take care of here? Well, with a medium size, of course, we can go with some bombers. If we wanted to build those, not a terrible idea for sure. But for now, we're sticking with the Cerberus. But what we would really be interested in is the Mercury Vanguard. That would be a great trading vessel. And then, of course, the Drill Vanguard if we want to add some more miners. And as I mentioned before, the reason I'm doing this and looking to purchase these blueprints is because we have no shot, essentially, of getting any more ships from the shipyards or the wharfs on a steady basis. So we're going to have to take care of some of this ourselves. All right, let's actually back out. And now we can talk to the representative. Talk to Caitlin. And let's go in. And again, you can see some of these blueprints. I mean, we're never going to be able to afford that. Not within the 24-hour period of gameplay anyway. All right, so let's see. What is the Drill Vanguard? It's 1.58. Okay, not bad. I'm going to get some of those, mostly because I think we might need to start mining some ore to help out some of the local stations. And then, let's see, Mercury Vanguard. Where are you? There you are. Not sure why there's two in the list. I really need to look into that, because some of these you can see have two of them in the list. They seem to be identical in most cases, if not every case. But the good news is these blueprints are actually very affordable. Only 3.6 million between the two of them. All right, I like this quite a bit. Let's actually... Well, I've forgotten the name of the other. It's a destroyer, I think. Let's actually back up for just a second. While we're here, I want to take a look at that one. So we got a medium-sized ship. It is the Minotaur. Okay, Minotaur Vanguard. See how much the blueprint is for that one. Here we go. Minotaur Vanguard. Ooh, 9.1 million. Okay, so that is going to be a little bit more on the expensive side, and I don't want to drain our money too much because I really want to be able to purchase some of these other ships, if at all possible. And who knows, we might skip the large ships entirely and attempt to go the extra large since they're already unlocked. We'll just have to see. There's a lot of things that we're going to have to figure out in the near future. But for right now, we're good to go. Let's actually teleport back over. Get back into the wharf. There you can see the drain mod that is working, the dump wares mod that's letting us know which particular stations need what materials, and that's available in our logbook. I don't spend a whole lot of time with that because I'm not basing my trading on that. All right, now let's come in under our HQ and let's build some ships. Let's see, let's go medium. And let's see, looks like we're still waiting for some weapons components, which is fine. Let's go Mercury Vanguard. So we're going to do the trading vessel, and let's see, let's just start out. We won't even worry about a loadout. We'll just do it all manually. All right, we're going to do the Mark II travel drive. Thrusters, let's just do the all-around. Let's see what we look like on the shields. Okay, I'm thinking the Mark I shield will probably be just fine. And turrets, let's see. I think we're actually going to be fine without. Let's just not put any turrets at all on this thing, because let's face it, it's not going to be able to defend itself in a battle very well anyway. All right, let's get some of the basic equipment on here. Might as well go ahead and throw some of this out there. I don't think we need any consumables. We're not going to mess with any laser towers. I've got some of those on our Cerberus vehicles, so yeah, I don't think we're going to need to worry about anything else. And we're actually going to give full service crew. We're not going to have any Marines on these, so let's go ahead and queue up. Let's start with 3 of them. That'll give us 3 traders. All right, that'll add into the queue, and you can see immediately they're starting to be built. And the reason for that is we're short weapons components, but we don't have any weapons to worry about on the trading vessels, so we can go ahead and move through some of that. Okay, while that's operating, looks like we got a little over a minute and a half before that's done. Let's go back under build ships, medium-sized ships, and let's look at some drill vanguards. Let's see, we can't use the loadout I usually use, so we'll come in and we'll take a look at some of these others. Let's do the Mark II travel drive. All-around thrusters will be fine. Let's take a look at what we've got here. Again, it's just not a big enough difference for these ships to really worry too much about the shield. If they're going to get destroyed, they're going to get destroyed. All right, no turrets. Once again, no weapons. We're not going to worry about that. We do need, I almost forgot, we need the mining drill. And so no turrets. We'll go ahead. We don't need the docking computer since we won't be flying that one. And consumables, don't need those. And we'll do the captain, of course. And we'll do full service crew on this one as well. Okay, you can see we're going to need some weapons components on these, at least a few. So we're just going to queue up 3 of these. Okay, let's see how things are going. We've got under 30 seconds to go. And let's see, 2 of the drill vanguards. Excellent. 2 of them are already being built. So things are going along quite nicely. See, we've got a station trader about to come in here. Let's see what he's bringing. Yes, weapons components. That's what I was hoping for. So you can see we've got a lot going on down here that's being built. So let's actually hop out. And there you can see our traders being built. There is one. There's the second drill vanguard that's being built. So we need to get these guys up and running. So I'll take care of that here momentarily. But we've got a lot going on. The last thing I wanted to show you guys in today's video is how I've been queuing up the orders for our particular wharf. So what I've been doing, since I'm using 1 medium ship and 8 small ships, I will simply come in and we'll go build ships. I build the smaller ships first, the Eclipse Vanguard, which is great because it has 4 weapon slots on it. And I've got a loadout here, which gets me started in the right direction. So if we go engine, instead of the Travel 2, I've been using the Combat Mark II. And then everything else we are using pretty standard. So we got Mark II combat thrusters. We're using the Mark III shields so that we get about 2,800 on our shields. Weapons, Mark II beam emitters. On a few of them, I've got the bolt repeaters, the Mark II bolt repeaters. But for the most part, I'm sticking to the beam emitters. That's what I've had the best luck personally using in combat, what little I've done. So that's why I've stuck to those. And I really like the Mark II model on that. And let's see, docking computer really doesn't matter, just in case we fly any of those. Because if I was going to fly anything, it would probably be one of the smaller ships. All right, so software looks pretty good. We don't really need the long-range scanner Mark II version. And we'll see, we don't need anything. Not going to worry about flares or anything there. Let's do 1 Marine and 2 service crew. So add to the shopping list. I'm just going to go ahead and queue up 8 of these. Now you can see we've got a lot of work to do on getting resources, but that's fine. That's part of it. And let's actually go back here and let's see what we've got. So now we've got, let's see what's completed. We've got our last drill vanguard is being lined up. We're going to have to get some of these guys out and about before we run out of docking locations here. So our final drill vanguard is being taken care of. What else is under construction right now? Oh, we've got the first Eclipse vanguard is ready to go. So that gives you guys an idea of how I do that. The next step is to come in, build ships, and we'll do the Cerberus. Okay, again, I've got a basic loadout here, the Mark II combat thrusters, the Mark II shield, and you can see we've actually got more shield than we've got hull. We've got the beam emitter, the Mark II, on both of these, and then our turrets are also the beam turrets on all four. Again, I really like the bolt, but have had better experience with the beam. So all of this is just fine. I don't know that any of this is going to make a whole lot of difference in the materials that we need. And then under consumables, I do give each one of these guys 5 Mark II laser towers, just in case we need these. Once the battle begins, we can drop some of those out and strategically place those to hopefully defend ourselves and our HQ. And then finally on the crew, I'm going to give 4 Marines there and then 10 service crew. Actually, I'm not sure that we need really any Marines, but just in case, we'll go ahead and hold over a few of them. Okay, we only need 1 Vanguard to be queued up with our 8 smaller ships, our 8 fighters. So we'll go ahead and confirm that. Come back down, take a look at our queue, and you can see, oh wow, the Cerberus is actually being built now. That's pretty amazing. I did not expect that. I thought it would build the smaller ships first, but so be it. I'm certainly not going to complain about the fact that we're going to have an additional Cerberus floating around. So that's going to do it for today. That gives you guys an update on where things are and basically how well they're going. Things are going extremely well, to the point that I am really enjoying this playthrough and can't wait to keep going. Thank you very much for joining me, and stay tuned as we will continue X4 Foundations.